Hey guys, here we go into a video kind of discussing and breaking down Richard Commey versus Teofimo Lopez. Now, this is a really interesting fight because I don't know much about Richard Commey. I had only seen his fight. I looked at his record. I was like, okay, he's a puncher. He has 2 losses, yada yada yada. And I was like, nothing impressive, right? Just kind of like, nobody talks about him. He's not like a big draw. But I was curious as to why Lomachenko said that he thinks that Commey is going to knock Teofimo Lopez out, which was really fascinating because originally I just assumed it was, just trash talk from Loma, hyping up the fight between him and Lopez. But I figured I would make a video about it and be like, figure it out because this is the last fight before Lopez fights Lomachenko, if he fights Lomachenko. And that means that it's very interesting to me because I think that Lopez has the opportunity to look really good against Lomachenko. Even if he loses, I think that he has the opportunity to look really impressive. And the interesting thing about that fight for me is that I think that Lopez is very good at setting up his shots when he's looking to set his shots up. He has good defense-ish, but he's very smart. His ring IQ is much higher than his age would depict. And anyway, that makes me very excited about that fight. So obviously I had to see, if that fight's even going to happen. And I started watching Richard Commey and his fight against Raymond Beltran. And this was actually, to be honest, a really good performance from Richard Commey. Not that, Beltran is like the greatest fighter, but I'm really impressed with the things that we're going to see from Richard Commey. I think that he has just phenomenal technique, you guys. If you guys watch this video, watch the way that he moves. And I'm going to be breaking a little bit of it down anyway, but let's go ahead and get into it. So, actually, let's put it in slow-mo because there's no reason to have it in real time. But look at how he comes forward. Look at how he ducks, right? He's going to look for shots, right, immediately. This is 3 seconds into the first round, and he's already looking to set his shots up, you guys. That's how you know this guy knows how to fight. Oh, and another thing I didn't talk about is that both of his losses are split decisions. I couldn't really find anybody complaining about Robert Easter Jr. winning the fight, but I did read some articles. I tried to read as many articles to get as many opinions about it as possible, and everyone said that the fight could go either way. Now, usually when the fight can go either way and the A side gets it, that means that the B side really won. And it's kind of, so in my head, I'm kind of like, oh, I guess he probably actually did win that fight. Even though he got hurt in the 12th round, and Easter Jr. is a hard fighter to fight because he's a giant. But anyway, getting into the film study. Now coming forward, feinting, and now look at this, you guys. Beautiful technique, okay? He's on his back foot, he's on his toes, right? I don't want to say on his toes, on the ball of his foot. And on his front foot is flat. This is going to allow him to shift his weight from his back foot to his front foot much easier. So look at how he's in a neutral position here. And now he switches his weight to his front foot. And this puts him into position. Not only is this motion going to hide his right hand later in the fight, but this also sets up the left hook if he wants to throw the left hook from here. But what he does instead, and you'll see it later, but boom, he uses those motions to hide his jab, right, and to walk him into this shot. And we'll see more better angles where we can see it. But watch as he steps. This is very important. A lot of fighters don't take steps. They shuffle forward so they can remain in a neutral-ish position, right? Which also stops them from being able to transfer their weight into their front foot when they want to throw a right hand anyway. Now he's stepping, and look at how he's stepping, you guys. This is really important, you guys. Heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. And look at how he's stepping here. When he steps on his front foot, right? And this is very important. That is the most important part of boxing. for your stance and for your weight transitions and for your balance, is making sure that you're never, ever on both of your toes, right? On the ball of your foot, on your front foot and your back foot at the same time. You don't ever want to be there because you can't throw any punches. I mean, you can, right? But you can't transition your weight. It's very, very difficult because, anyway, we'll talk about that later. But anyway, when he takes this step and Beltran starts to feint him, look at how he feints the right hand. And because he's not on his front foot, or because he's not on his toes on his front foot here, right? He's here. The shot comes, right? The feint comes. He's able to slip to the outside of it. But if he was on his toes, he would be blocking his own weight transfer with his own body mechanics, and he wouldn't be able to move his head to the side. Very, very, very important, you guys. But anyway, look at this, how he does this. After he slips to the outside, right, when his opponent feints him, right, when he realigns his hips, he comes in with a jab as well. Actually, let's go ahead and put it in real time. But actually, it is pretty fast, though. But when he slips, right, look at how his hips turn all the way into the right, right? So his hips are basically pointed at his opponent now. And when he looks to retransition his weight back to his back foot, he shoots a jab, right? And now he does explode out of his guard, right? And you can't really see it. He doesn't keep his back foot with him super well. But he's using that motion. He's punching off of his opponent's feints, right? His opponent feints him, and now Beltran is like, oh, when I feint the right hand, he slips to the outside. Maybe I can throw a left hook. But he winds up getting punched in the face instead, right? But he uses the opportunity of Beltran setting up his offense, or looking for ways to set up his offense, to set up his own offense, knowing that there's likely off of that feint nothing is going to be coming. You have to look for offense. But again, looking at his technique again, right? Watch what he steps, step, toe, feint, and then he can see that he's getting Beltran out of position. And again, watch him transfer his weight, and as he shifts his weight back, he comes with a jab feint, right? And then he feints again. Well, first off, let's talk about the information that he gains. He's going to shoot this jab feint, and look at how Beltran responds, right? Number one, he's catching the jab, right? So he's bringing his right glove into the front of his face to block it so it won't hit him in the chin. But look at what he does with his left hand, right? Now, I'm not sure what he thinks he's doing here. I have no idea why Beltran is bringing his left hand up, because it's not in a position to block a right hand. If you see, there's a clear path between Commey's right hand and Beltran's chin, or his temple, or his forehead, or his eyes, or whatever, There's a clear path for it. Now, what he does do is now he feints, he gets Beltran to catch the jab again, and then he shoots a jab to the body, right? But he uses that information because he knows that Beltran's going to put himself out of position, and when you catch a jab, right, you transfer your weight from your back foot a little bit to your front foot, because it's a similar motion of punching, right? And that means that he's going to rotate into the right hand, right? But that means he's also in position to block the right hand. So what he does is he gets him to walk into the same shot, into the same direction, and shoots a jab to the body, right? You just see it open. But then what he does after, right, uses a hook here, right? Now this is very important because it's very common, right? But Beltran thinks it's going to be another jab, so he's like, I better catch that. He's starting to get close to me, right? But Commey uses a hook instead. Now the reason that this is really important is not because like, oh, this is like some great tactic, or this is some like, some information that Richard Commey is the only one in the world that has. No. The reason that it's really important is because of the way that Teofimo looks to defend himself against the jab and against the right hand. And it puts himself into a position to get hit with the left hook a lot. Sorry, I just had all-you-can-eat sushi. I'm a little full right now. But again, let's just watch Commey and his active guard. Just beautiful boxing, right? So right after that shot, catching this shit. Excuse me. But after he catches the jab, right? Whoops. So that transfers his weight to his front foot. And after the punch, boom, he comes back with his own counter. Again, constantly transitioning his weight and giving his opponent different looks. And again, slipping to the inside, And then when he comes back, he's shooting a jab, right? And it makes it very difficult for Beltran to set up his own offense, because every time Commey moves, he has an opportunity to throw a punch. Now again, the same motion, slip to the inside. And now look at this. This is I forgot to talk about this yet, but watch Beltran right now. Don't watch Commey. See how he has to respect that shot? He's like, oh, punches are coming maybe, right? But they're not, and then they do come, right? He's able to use this active guard style, right? The constant weight transitions to signal to Beltran that he's throwing punches, even when he doesn't throw punches. So Beltran has to respect that. And what that does is that gives Commey control over Beltran, right? Now, that's a very loose term, but when you get your opponent not only reacting to you, but you can tell your opponent, hey, I want you to back up. I want you to think I'm throwing a right hand, and all you have to do is slip to the inside from a mile away, and he's going to be like, oh, I'll get into a defensive stance to block the right hand. That's control of your opponent, because Commey is the one making Beltran do that. Now, Beltran, if you think about it like a video game, right? Richard Commey is pressing A. A is slipped to the inside. And then Beltran's like, oh shit, he pressed A, now I gotta press X. Right? That's the way that it works. It's a sequential patterns, right? And there's the right thing to do, the wrong thing to do, but there's always something that you have to do. You always have to respond. When you don't respond, that's when you just get punched in the face. But again, Richard Commey, again, let's look at his weight transfer, slip to the inside. And then when he realigns his hips, because he's out of position here, right? Because he didn't throw a right hand. Now he has to get back into position. His weight only has one place to go. Well, he could follow it and circle out to the right side of Beltran, or he needs to bring his hips back, right, and get back into a neutral position. And as he does that, he shoots a jab and transfers his weight back. Beautiful boxing. And again, when he does the same motion here, slip to the inside, right? And Beltran's like, ooh, maybe I got him. And then Commey's like, oh, I'll come back with the hook now. Again, all of these punches coming off of his weight transition. And then him showing that after the hook, right? Now Beltran is going to come forward and lean forward on the front foot. And Commey thinks that that's going to be a jab. So he's like, okay, I'll give him a little bit of a pull counter and go with an uppercut, right? Great fundamentals from Commey. To be honest, very impressive. And then again, feinting with the hook, right? Because he knows that Beltran is not going to counter him. And because he's feinted him, he's shot enough jabs, he knows that Beltran's not looking to counter. So now he's like, okay, now I just got to get him to react to the jab and then throw a body shot, because I know he's not looking to counter. So he sets up a great right hand. And again, great control over his opponent, great feinting, great weight transitions. Again, doing a great job of constantly staying in position and using proper body mechanics to set this shot up. Now again, this is very similar, right? Gets him to react to the hook. Well, he thinks it's going to be a jab, right? Jab, and he catches it. So he's like, okay, cool. So now he does the same Mikey Garcia thing where he flashes the hook, transfers his weight to his back leg, and then rolls his hips into the right hand, right? Not the greatest technique here, right? It's effective. He lands the good shot, right? But he could do a little better and make it a little harder of a shot if he kept his back leg with him. But that's neither here nor there. It's not important. Because he succeeds in his goal, right? And he lands the right hand because he knows that Beltran is, not only is he moving back in a straight line, as you see here, but he's also catching the jab, and he's not moving after, right? So after the jab comes, Beltran's not expecting anything else to come, so he gets stuck on the line and doesn't use defensive responsibility after getting feinted or after getting put out of position, and gets caught with the big right hand. Now that's going to be very important when we talk about Teofimo Lopez in just a second. But again, Commey doing a great job here of slipping to the inside, right? And then you can see that Beltran is looking to time him, right? He feints him. He's like, oh, I thought he was going to give me this motion, and then back to the right foot, and then back to the left foot. But if you notice, weight transition left, weight transition right, as he takes a step with his left foot. And then as he's taking that step with the left foot, Beltran tries to feint, or tries to set up some offense. He's trying to time Commey. So Commey's like, okay, jab. You looking to counter me? You're looking to time me? Now he feints him with the jab and then goes over the top because he knows from this little exchange here that Beltran's looking to time him with the jab, looking to come in, and lands a great right hand over the top. And then, you know, a lot more of a little exchange here. But the only part that worries me for Commey, if you're a Commey fan and you want him to fight Lopez, or you want to see him do really well in his boxing career, and again, I didn't watch a lot of the Easter fight, so I don't know too much about it, but it looks like after first contact, you know, he stays on the line a lot, and you can see him get hit with a big shot right here, right? Boom, a big shot. And that's from staying on the line with his opponent, you know. He's completely outboxing Beltran on the outside, and he's making it look easy. And for some reason, he elects to stay on the line with Beltran and get caught with the shot. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's just keep watching Commey. Again, feinting, right? Slipping to the inside, and then coming back, shooting a jab. And Beltran, he's having a very hard time timing it. He's having a very hard time setting up his offense. He's having a very hard time because he has to respect Richard Commey, because Richard Commey is, not only is he a huge puncher, but he's hiding his offense very well with those weight transitions. He's making it very difficult for Beltran to know when he should be feinting, when he should be controlling him. He's basically given complete control of the space between him and Commey to Commey. So now Commey can do whatever he wants in that space, and that allows him to make Beltran, who's doing the right thing, right? Catch the jab. Oh, get walked into a right hand. You know, and you'll see a little bit more evidence too. But it gives you more opportunities to take advantage of your opponent doing the right thing, because you get to dictate when he does it, right? Anyway, moving on, feinting again. And another thing that I want to point out, shooting the jab. One of Teofimo Lopez's favorite opportunities for offense, or his defensive layer, rather, is countering the jab, right? And as we see here, you know, Beltran is no Teofimo Lopez, but as you see here, he's seen, you know, people trying to counter over his jab before with that jab right there. Shoots the jab, he gets under the right hand here very easily, under that hook as well, and then lands a great body shot, right? Boom. I don't want to get hit by that Commey body shot, but you can see that there's a lot of craft that we might not have seen before from Commey. I know I definitely have never seen it. This is only the first fight that I've ever seen of his, but he looks very good, very polished, very interesting. And again, starting to get into it with his right hand feint, right? Feint, 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 and he's able to hide these shots. And look at how after all of that, he shoots the shot to the glove and then goes for another shot, right? He's like, oh, I'll let you block this one. And then shoots a jab to the chest, right? Showing that he's paying attention, showing that he knows that Beltran is looking to counter him, and he's beginning to layer his offense even more, right? So in my boxing videos, a lot of talk about layering your offense. There's if you haven't ever seen those videos, check them out. They're in the description here. But check this out. This is his first layer to his offense. This is the first way that he hides his offense. He says, hey, I hope you don't know what I'm doing, because if you ever get to know what I'm doing, you're going to be able to perfectly counter me, right? And that's the idea behind boxing or counterpunching. So he uses this slipping to the inside and then retransitioning his weight, right, back into position to shoot the jab, right? And now he sees that Beltran is starting to counter him. He needs to layer his offense again. He needs to add another layer. So now he's adding another layer. So instead of just waiting for his opponent to counter the jab, he's like, okay, he's getting used to the jab. Now I want him to think about the right hand, so he uses the right hand feint. Then he uses a jab feint, right? And this is off of the same timing, right? Inside, outside, and then he shoots a jab, not only to the gloves, right? But then again, the next one to the chest. So in this sequence, he's adding this layer. He's like, okay, now I want you to think about this. Maybe the right hand's coming. Okay, now I want you to think about this. Because after this right hand comes, right, the jab might come right there, right? So look at how Beltran reacts, right? Boom. Gets his guard up. He's like, okay, maybe it's coming. Look at how Beltran, when that shot comes. Now watch Beltran. Look at his weight right here. He's gonna turn his shoulders and he's gonna start turning his weight to his front leg. as that transition comes. And this is how you catch the jab. You want to turn and get your paw in front of it, right? And he's able to continually feint Beltran and keep Beltran thinking on his own rhythm, right? And then lull him to sleep with the jab. Here you go. Okay, I knew that was coming. And then jab to the chest, right? And then adding another layer, right? That Beltran is going to have to, figure out how to control that jab so that he can get into the fight. Otherwise, he's going to be stuck on the outside all night. And again, beautiful boxing from Commey, right? Look at the weight transitions just perfectly, right? He's slipping that shot. Again, this is the same motion, you guys, as slipping to the inside, right? But instead of throwing a right hand, instead of just keeping his hands to himself, he blocks that shot, and then he's able to get under the left hook. Just beautiful boxing, you guys. Beautiful. Did I say right hand? Sorry. Him shooting the right hand, but he's able to catch the jab of Beltran, who's trying to time him, right? But great boxing, great body mechanics from him. Notice Richard Commey is never out of position. From here, he could come back with the left hook, and instead of coming back with the left hook, he uses the same weight transfer to roll the left hook from his opponent, right? It's the same, you guys. It's the same. And then right into the jab, Just doing a great job. To be honest, I'm very, very, very impressed with Richard Commey. And again, feinting, and then just beautiful, right? Feint. And then when Beltran finally thinks he has him tied down, he slips to the inside. Actually, that jab might even land. It does land, actually. It lands great. But he comes back with his own uppercut right here because every time Commey transitions his weight, he knows what moves are available to him in the next sequence, right? You slip to the inside, right? Or you slip to the weight on your left leg, then you come back with the left hand, right? You slip to the right side, you come back with the right hand, right? Easy stuff from Commey. But a great, oh my God. And again, right? Feint. And then able to touch him on the chin right there with that jab, right? Not hard, right? It doesn't have to be hard. But again, able to hide his offense. Again, touch him, right? And then jab to the body. And Beltran has no idea what's coming. It's just there's so many patterns. There are so many little opportunities for Commey. And then again, walking him into the right hand of the body because he knows he has to block the left hand, right? Upstairs. He thinks it's going to be a jab, so he goes to catch it, and then he tries to get it back in time. But all that Commey wants to do here is get him blocking this shot to open up the body shot. That's it. Which means that Commey is doing exactly what he wants to do. Now, here's the wild card, you guys, because I don't think that Commey is going to be dynamic enough to deal with Lopez with just these tactics. I do think that he's going to have a few more layers in his offense, but I do think he's going to have a lot of success. But I think that they'll wind up being pretty even in that regard. But where I think that the wild card is and where I might actually think that Commey has a chance of knocking Lopez out is his catch and counter style. Now this is really interesting. So Beltran shoots a jab right here, right? And again, remember the last time he shot the jab. Remember the last time that he shot the jab. Where was it? Was it here? Let's see. No, sorry guys. I don't know where that clip went. Okay, this jab right here. So remember the last time he shot the jab, boom, catches it on the gloves, right? And then he just rolls this shot, right? The next hook, right? Catch it here, rolls the hook. Well, wait, what the heck? Why did that look so funny to me? No reason. Okay. The next time that Beltran shoots a jab that he counters, or that he catches, he turns away from it again, and instead of rolling the hook like last time, right? Instead of rolling the hook like last time, he comes with a catch and counter style and cracks Beltran with the left hook right there. And again, using his weight transitions, right? So that hook comes, he transfers his weight to his front foot, and he comes back with the left hook and cracks him right on the chin. And then in the next scene, shooting the jab again, boom, catch and counter style again. Now that's going to be very important because Teofimo Lopez doesn't always layer his jabs very well. And again, this very, Very good left hook right here. Not only does Teofimo Lopez not always layer his jab super well all the time, but he almost never has his hands up when he's punching. Almost never. And it does look that like Commey has a pretty decent catch and counter on the jab for his own left hook, and I think that might wind up being super successful for him. Now, the next scene, the last thing that I want to talk about, and a lot of people talk about like the flaws of transitioning your weight and your opponent knowing where your head is going to be and fighting off the front foot and this and that and all that garbage, you know. But when he starts to transition his weight, right, watch Commey, front foot, and he goes to put his weight on his back foot. And as he does that, oh man, my video's freezing. It always does this at the end of the video when the video's not very long. It's hard to get it into frame by frame. But you can see that he's going to transition his weight to his front foot here. And then as he's going to his back foot, Beltran is going to set him up for a left hook. He's like, oh, he's going to his back foot. I'm going to come back with a left hook. But you can see it in his eyes. Look at Commey's eyes. He's like, oh, I've seen that before. And as he comes in with that left hook, Commey lands a great right hand on him. Just a beautiful shot. So a master at these. Oh my god, this has been a half an hour video. Holy crap. Sorry guys, probably gonna be a little bit longer. But anyway, you can see he's doing a great job. Now we're gonna get into Teofimo Lopez and his fight against Nakatani and how the similarities are gonna tie into the Commey fight. Now the first clip I wanted to talk about is right here, how Nakatani is feinting him. And look at Lopez's hands, they're down, right? This is the third round, right? But he's going to feint him, right? Feint him, and then shoot a jab. And now look at where Lopez looks to elect to get away from the right hand, right? He pulls away from the shot to try to roll it because he's looking to create craft, right? Roll the jab, come back with the right hand. You know, we've seen that Mayweather tactic a million times. But Nakatani doing a good job here. And again, Lopez doesn't look to layer his jab here, right? Catches the jab here on the glove, slips to the inside, and then lands a body shot. This is very, very, very similar to Richard Commey's catch and counter where he throws the hook upstairs, right? The only difference is he goes to the body. But look at how Lopez is going to be open for either of those shots. Look at where his glove is right here. Now, again, Lopez, very good at setting his offense up, right? So he's going to shoot his jab here. And look at how after he shoots his jab, he goes to catch his opponent's jab. He just knows. He just knows from this range and this position and that punch, the jab is the most likely counter from his opponent. So he's immediately trying to catch it. Then immediately after seeing that his opponent is looking to catch his jab, right? He goes in. Wait, did I miss that clip already? Wait, where is his jab? Ah, you see, so he shoots the jab here. Lopez shoots the jab, and Nakatani catches it, right? Parries it, and brings his right hand all the way across his face, right? Nothing wrong with that. That's not the way you're supposed to do it, right? You're supposed to transition your weight with that shot to catch it. So you transition your weight from your back foot or a neutral position to your front foot, boom, so you can come back with the left hook, right? But catching the shot regardless. And Lopez says, okay, let's see what you want to do from there. Are you going to counter me now that you know my jab is coming? No. All right. So he gives him the same look, shoots the jab, goes to the jab to the body, and look at Nakatani's right hand again on the inside because he's trying to catch the jab, right? Catch the jab either to the head or to the body, and it opens up to this great left hook that Lopez lands. Now, this is in seconds of the first round, you guys. Lopez is very good at setting up his punches. He's very, very knowledgeable about this concept of feinting and getting your opponent out of position before you land punches. But Nakatani has an active guard. Very similar, not nearly as good as Richard Commey's, but very similar to Richard Commey's, in which he's constantly using that lead hand, where Richard Commey is constantly using his weight to control his opponent. Obviously, Commey's is much more effective and much more powerful, much more dynamic, because that means that he's going to have power in every single one of his shots because he's constantly moving and constantly in position to throw either of those hands with power. But Lopez here, when the jab comes, right, again, he gets hit with that jab. Not only does he get hit with the jab, but he gets hit with the right hand as well. And that's because he's rolling the shot instead of slipping the shot. He's trying to duck the shot there, but, you know, you can make the excuse that Nakatani is just really tall and doesn't know what the range is, right? But it's not going to change the fact that he's going to use this same tactic fighting the right-handed Commey to slip and pull away from the shot. But as we've already seen, Commey is really good at setting up his right hand as well. Feinting, figuring out whether or not his opponent is going to counter or not. But how exposed Lopez is when he's looking to counter or find that shot is going to be a very, very big problem for him. And we're going to see a lot of these clips again. Boom, boom, boom. You know, looking decent there, but I think that he is getting hit with this right hand here, right? And Commey, as we saw, is very good with shooting and landing his own right hand. But not only do we notice that, but Commey likes to shoot the hook as well, right? So when the jab comes instead, right, because of the fact that Teofimo is not transferring his weight to his other side either, he's only catching it and then moving his weight to his right leg. So using his right hand to kind of push his weight to his back leg to move his head farther away from it, rather than slipping to the inside, catching the shot, and putting his weight onto his left leg. He's exposing himself to the feint jab, right, and then into the left hook, which is a very, very, very common, very, very common like combination, right? Feint the jab into the left hook, right? And you can see here that Commey looks to do that as well. Or that Nakatani's doing it here, but it's going to be a very effective combination against Teofimo Lopez as well. Now, the reason that this is so important is not because it's a super difficult combination to get away from, not because it's like a super high-level tactic, not because of any of that. The reason that it's going to be so effective is just like Raymond Beltran, Teofimo Lopez does not look to control the space between him and his opponent. That's the problem, right? Let's not give like extra credit to Commey or extra credit to Nakatani. Nakatani was allowed to do this because Lopez was looking for that counter right hand over the top of the jab. Lopez let him do this, right? Let's not get caught into the idea like, oh, Nakatani's so good, oh, this isn't that, you know. But rather, it's a fundamental fighting flaw that Lopez was exhibiting because he's looking for the right hand. He's already decided, oh, I want to go right hand over the top of the jab and knock him out because that's going to give me the shortest night, right? But Beltran was doing the same exact thing. He was looking for opportunities to counter, right, expecting everything that Commey does to be on the surface, right? Not giving Commey the credit of being at least an average fighter who knows what an average feint is, right? And Lopez is doing the same thing in this situation and getting walked into shots. Now, he does a decent job of getting away from them here, but look at how all of his defense, when he's getting away from the shots, he's susceptible to not only the hook, right? And the hook is, again, let's see right here. See how his glove's in front of his face when the jab comes? Boop. And then the right hand. But the hook is going to be very effective against Lopez, whether it lands or not, because it's also going to serve to keep Lopez on the line so that Commey can land his right hand, right? Just like we saw with the knockdown with Beltran, right, where he throws the hook, Beltran gets frozen and then eats the right hand. That's not because Commey is doing like such a great job, right? Oh, he's like this insane fighter that no one can beat. It's because of the fact that his active guard is stopping his opponent from doing the right thing themselves, right? The active guard is making his opponent make a mistake, right? Now, if Lopez is going to win this fight, he's going to have control over Commey because Commey is way too polished to lose a fight in which he's allowed to set up all his punches, okay? He just hits way too hard. You don't have any opportunities to make him make mistakes because he's making you do the right thing and turning those things into mistakes, right? And that's what Lopez is waiting to do here throughout the whole fight with Nakatani. He's waiting for Nakatani to make a mistake, to fight like an amateur, to throw some punches that he doesn't set up, to be reckless, right? He's waiting for mistakes. Rather than being a great fighter, in making his opponent make mistakes, right? Which is what Richard Commey was doing to Beltran, right? Beltran's doing the right thing. Oh, the jab is coming. Catch the jab. Oh, the right hand is coming. Slip the jab. Oh, counter this or do that. And he's able to, oh, I need the jab to control the space. So, but he's able to fight off of all of the right things that his opponents are doing. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. Sorry. Let's get into it. But again, not right there. That's the first time that Nakatani shoots the jab here, and then he goes around the guard with the left hook here because Lopez is open for it. Now again, that's going to be a big problem for Lopez in the fight with Richard Commey, because Richard Commey is going to use that tactic to keep Lopez's head on the line and in line of that right hand. Now, let's see, what was that next clip? Now, this is what Lopez is looking to do in the whole fight with Nakatani. Catch the jab, right, which winds up being a hook instead of a jab, and then throw a right hand over the top, right? But the problem with that is that if you watch Nakatani, look at how exposed he is when he shoots that jab. Look at how all of his weight is transferring to his front foot. Now we're going to look at Commey, and when he shoots his jab, look at where his head winds up being. Look at where his weight winds up being. Because this tactic is not going to be nearly as effective against him. But he's transferring his weight back to his back leg when he shoots his jab. Boom. Bam. These are the jabs that I'm talking about. Slip to the outside, right? And then come back. And then he switches his weight to his back leg, so he remains in position to move and to throw other punches. I think this will have a much better look. So transfer his weight, and then transfer his weight back to his back leg, right? And you can see the difference in the technique and the lunging kind of style of Nakatani, where he shoots the jab, and as soon as Commey shoots his jab here, boom, his weight is automatically being brought back to his back leg, right, as he shuffles and then controls him. But Nakatani gets stuck on the line here, and Lopez is still not able to land that shot super well. Again, more feinting, and now, again, this is the catch and counter style that I think that is going to be effective for Richard Commey against Lopez as well, because Lopez doesn't keep his hands up when he punches, right? Now, you don't have to keep your hands up as long as you know that you're setting your punches up very well. As long as you know how your opponent is going to react to what you're doing, it doesn't matter what else you're going to do. Part of the problem with that is that your opponent is able to make adjustments during the course of the fight, whether you set your punches up or not, right? And they might surprise you. And in this case, Lopez is going to shoot forward with his jab, come in with a right hand, and because he's not keeping his hands up when he throws his left hook, right, because he's staying on the line, right, for multiple weight transition, he gets caught with the left hook. Now, I think that might mean that, now, again, Nakatani lunging in with his jab gets caught right here, right, committing hard with that jab, But the catch and counter style where Lopez doesn't have his hands up, I think is going to be a big problem for him. Why did I keep that clip in there? I don't wonder. Oh, okay. Again, doesn't keep his hands up. Boom. And the catch and counter style, again, I think is going to be very effective. As you see, Nakatani sees the punch coming because Lopez doesn't have control of the space between him and his opponent, because he's not looking to feint. He's not looking to control him. He's not looking to get him out of position with anything other than committed punches here, right? Now, that might be something that he does differently against Richard Commey, like he did against Adis Tatley, although I can't find that fight anywhere. I have no idea where to find it, so I can do film study on it. But he does a much better job in that fight of feinting and controlling and using his lead hand. But I'm not sure he's going to be able to do that against Richard Commey, which is the reason why we're only seeing so many defensive clips in my fight analysis. Because I do think that Richard Commey is the one that's going to have control over the space between him and his opponent. Now, again, throws the left hook, right? Even though he lands it, boom, he gets caught with an overhand right. Bop. And now look at where his hands are after he lands that shot. They're down again, and he's not moving off the line, right? So now, I haven't talked about this in a long time because we don't often see a lot of great counterpunchers. We don't often see a lot of great counterpunch strategies. Most fighters are, either aggressive or defensive, and this is like kind of like the last layer of like initial contact. But after Lopez lands that left hook, he doesn't move off the line, right? Boom, he's just stuck there. And he doesn't look to control Nakatani either, right? So from this position, after he throws the left hook, he needs to take that left hand and push on Nakatani and control him. Again, this is the same idea between feinting, probing, and using an active guard to control your opponent, except in this respect, you're doing it in a physical way. You're physically controlling them, right? Now think back on those Lomachenko fights where his opponent has his guard up, and then he'll take his left hand or his right hand. He'll shoot a jab. He'll shoot it past his opponent's gloves on the outside, and then when he pulls it back, he'll grab his opponent's hand, pull it down, and then throw a left hand on the inside of it, right? But he'll use this block removal technique to pull their guard down and then punch them in the face. This is the exact same idea. All that you're looking to do here is control your opponent. You want to manipulate their actions. Now, sometimes you do that with feints and probes and with your active guard, and sometimes you do it physically. Now, after you throw a punch, you need to bring your weight back, right? So he's going to throw the left hook, right? So technically his weight should be on his right leg now. So you throw the left hook, boom, weight should be on his left leg. Now he needs to get back to a neutral position. So while he's getting back to this neutral position, right, he's going to use his left hand to facilitate that, right? So it's kind of the same idea between, so he can either throw a right hand, right, to get his weight back to his left leg, right, or off of his right leg, in theory, right? Or he can transfer his weight and block his opponent's weight transfer with his own lead hand, right? So it goes left hook, and then you immediately put your left arm onto your opponent, not only to smother them, but to control their ability to transfer their weight to throw punches at you, right? Now, Lopez, and I think I have videos on this too, layering your defense. This is a defensive tactic for your offensive output. Now, Lopez doesn't do any of that. He doesn't use defensive responsibility. He doesn't move his head off the line. He doesn't pivot. He doesn't control his opponent. He doesn't do anything but eat that right hand. And that's going to be a big problem for him. Again, here, you can give him the excuse, oh, Nakatani's really big, so he has to lunge. Boom, boom. But he comes straight up after landing these shots. And again, Richard Commey, when he blocks a shot, he comes back with the hook. He comes back with another shot, right? Now, Lopez does show the propensity to do this kind of stuff, as you see here, right? Boom, where he ducks. I don't know why I missed the actual punch that he throws there, but he throws a punch, and then he rolls the shot, defensive responsibility, and gets off the line, right? So he shows the offensive output. He shows the ability to control his opponent with feints, control his opponent with the jab, and set up his left hook. He showed it at the beginning of this fight, but for some reason, he gets lost in this fight, and I believe that it has something to do with him kind of being one-track minded, but also with Nakatani's active guard being able to control Lopez. Now, if it does wind up being the fact that it's not just his wife, it's not just his outside ring stuff, it's not just his family thinks his wife is a gold digger or whatever, which is super sad that they would think that. It's also super sad that they don't want to mind their own business and let this kid live his own life and make his own mistakes, because that's part of why life is so amazing, because you do get to go on and learn these things and, figure out what, anyway. If it does happen to be Nakatani's active guard, and we can take a look at a little bit of Nakatani, if you just watch Nakatani. Well, actually, it just looks like he's just straight attacking with every one of his motions. Well, there's some good feints right there. But look at how he's using the lead hand here to control Lopez, right? He's going to be feinting here, right? And look at how Lopez reacts. Just watch Lopez in this clip, right? Brings his glove up. He cocks his left shoulder, gets his right glove up, and what he's doing, he's creating like a pinch here, right, for his body mechanic, so that he can catch the right hand and not put his weight so far on his lead leg that he can't throw a right hand after, right? Bop, boom, right? So he's trying to block his own weight transfer with his shoulder. Don't worry about that. That's not super important. But you can see that Lopez is reacting to him. Again, looking to catch that jab. Where's the jab? And he gets feinted out of position a few times, and he says, oh, okay, well, I guess I better attack him. And then gets walked into this left hook here. And that's because Lopez has no layers on his offense here, right? He does try to feint with the jab here, but he doesn't know how Nakatani is going to respond because he hasn't been able to feint him in the, probably like the last minute of the fight, or, the last minute and a half. But he thinks it's going to open up the body shot, but it doesn't, and he winds up just getting walked into a shot. Now, anyway, getting back to Commey and Lopez, I think this is going to be a very, very, very interesting fight. And although the Lomachenko fight is more dangerous from a win-lose perspective, this is going to be the fight, his fight with Richard Commey, that defines his whole career. Now, that sounds like a lot. That's a really big deal. But this, I promise you, this is going to be the fight. If Lopez wins this fight, even though it looks like, for all intents and purposes, that Commey is going to find a way to knock him out, I think that Lopez has a good shot at winning this fight. And it's interesting that I didn't think it was going to be a dangerous fight for him at all. But I think that Richard Commey is very good with his active guard. He's very good with his feinting. He's amazing with his weight transfers. He's a little basic, but that's because you don't have to have that much going on to be a good fighter. You just have to land your punches. Like, think about that, you guys. Like, all you have to do is find a way to trick your opponent into letting you land a right hand, right? That's it. And Commey has a good right hand. Commey has a good left hook. He hits hard. And it's not that hard. As you can see, it's very little bit of feint, little bit of look here, and then just remembering, right? Now, Lopez also has a very good memory. He also has very good feints when he's using them. The question for me, though, is Lopez going to be able to control the space between him and Commey? Is he going to be able to stop Commey from feinting and probing him and using that active guard, using that, using those weight transfers to hide his punches? Is Lopez going to be able to time him on those weight transfers and knock him out? Is he going to be able to, because that is one thing that's really interesting too, is that you notice every time a punch comes at Richard Commey, right, he does transfer his weight. So if you can time him and you can walk him into a weight transfer, right, say you want him to slip to the inside, so you're going to feint a right hand, he's going to slip to the inside to come back with a left hook, but because you only used half of a weight transition and he used a full weight transition to get out of the way of it, you're going to be able to come back with the left hook half a beat before he's able to come back with his left hook. Now, I hope that makes sense. That's just the way that I do, like, boxing math. But Richard Commey does have the propensity to be, I don't want to say like easily feinted out of position, because he stays in position to throw punches. It's not like when you see Beltran catching the jab or slipping or doing whatever he's doing, he doesn't have any ability to come back with any punches. That's because Beltran has bad technique, and Richard Commey has fantastic technique. It's kind of the same thing with Naoya Inoue. That guy has, monster technique. His technique is, almost flawless. He just has to figure out what to do with it mentally, right? Stop focusing on, being a big puncher and punching hard and all this stuff, and focus on finding ways to be more clever on setting his punches up, right? I think Naoya Inoue is kind of like a poor man's Richard Commey in that regard. And speaking of which, Naoya Inoue versus Nonito Donaire will be my next video. And then I think I'll be doing that one tomorrow. And then I have a special video from someone who sent me some stuff on Facebook. I've been meaning to get this video out for a couple weeks now. His name is Oscar Peralta. and he sent me some training video. He sent me some video of his amateur fight, and we're going to kind of break a little bit of it down, and then we're going to look at some of his shadow boxing, and then I'm going to give him some tips and stuff. And yeah, but anyway, Nonito Donaire is next versus Naoya Inoue, and then Oscar Peralta. You want to be like Mike. But anyway, thanks for watching the video, guys. I'm sorry it was like super long. I don't know if it like droned out a lot. I don't know what, but it was interesting. I really enjoyed doing the film study on this today. And I don't know who I'm picking to win the fight, you guys. So I don't know, but this is just what I see. This is how I see the fight going down. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out foutsboxing.com. Sign up for the newsletter. I got a lot of really cool stuff coming up. And yeah, thanks, guys.